There is nothing to understand, but there is something which you taste, and do it for 1 month. You know the taste of something which others do not know. Begin to make your respiration uniform. Begin to breathe slow, soft and uniform. Do it for 5 minutes a day. You have nothing to understand in it, but after 1 month or 2 months you find something to taste or experience. And then utter your own voice and begin to listen to it. We are uttering so many things while we are speaking to each other, but we are not listening to our own voice. We are expected to utter our own voice and listen to it. Practice it for 5 minutes a day. There is nothing for you to understand in it. After 1 month, you will experience something. Now you have a repetition of 3 items. That is, you are observing the movements of your respiration, and you are making your respiration uniform, and then you are uttering your own voice and listening to it by uttering the sacred word Om. So for 5 minutes you are practicing uttering Om and listening to it. After 5 or 6 months of spending 15 minutes a day, that is 5 minutes to each of these 3 items, you will find something which others do not. That is, you will find that this is coming nearer and nearer, and finally it comes to balance, because you have placed here also a habit. Instead of having habit on one side and all other damn things like understanding, knowledge, reasoning, rationalism on the other side, you have placed habit this side also, and gradually it began to balance. See, I doubt you were Patanjali in your previous birth, because you could give the ready answer. So you have to repeat this at the same time every day, same hour and same minute, and the same place. Then you are using a habit to neutralize other habits. This is one example of the power of habit. And I think there is one incident in the life of Ramakrishna Paramhamsa, which some of you may be knowing. There was an addict of crude opium who came to him once. Crude opium, addiction, and he was trying to get out of the habit for a very long time, which he was not able to do. And he has seen many masters and mahatmas, many Swamijis and semi-Swamijis, and yoga teachers and political leaders, etc., etc. And he came to Ramakrishna Paramhamsa and said, "Can you make me free from this habit?" Then he smiled and said, "I too have habits like you, but don't think of coming out of the habit. I will take the responsibility of bringing you out of your habit. Don't try to fight out. Leave it to itself. But just do what I say daily. You take a little balance used in India to weigh gold with some seeds. There is what is called the jeweler's balance, with which the jeweler weighs gold and jewels. Ramakrishna asked the fellow to purchase one such balance and bring it. So the next day he brought it, and then he said, "Bring one lump of chalk," not chalk piece, but there are lumps of chalk, calcium carbonate. He brought it, and then he asked, "You weigh the opium you eat with the chalk on one side and the dosage of opium you eat daily on the other side, and then have this lump of chalk with you daily. Daily eat your opium after weighing with this. Just do it daily. In the meanwhile, I take the responsibility of your stopping opium." And you count the number of days that take before you stop opium. How? Every day after eating your opium, you take your lump of chalk and make a little mark upon your wall. And the second day, you make another mark. Third day, third mark. But go on eating opium, weighing with that lump of chalk. So he was doing it. After 20 or 25 days, he found that the lump of chalk was being decreased. Gradually, it is being exhausted, getting smaller and smaller, but the fellow was able to maintain himself with the smaller weight of opium daily. After 25 days, he could find that he was reducing the quantity of opium. Then he could understand what his master did, and he got encouraged, and he continued. And finally, he had only a little bit of chalk with him, which after eating opium, he has drawn the line and stopped it. And he came to the master and said, I stopped opium. The master smiled and said, better to talk of something else instead of opium. Because if we talk about opium too much and say that we have stopped it and we have stopped it, that means we are meditating upon opium once again. Someday the fellow may enter the house once again. So he said, talk of something else. That's why Patanjali says, repeat something else. Make a habit of trying to neutralizing a habit. That is what the masters say.